Beloved of the Lord, today you are stepping into a divine morning where heaven is ready to align your day with favor, peace, and unstoppable grace. Are you ready to see your morning transformed into a doorway of miracles? As you enter this blessed Saturday, understand that every word you speak in prayer carries the power to shift atmospheres and unlock breakthroughs in your life. Tell me, have you ever experienced a morning where everything just felt divinely aligned for you? This is not an ordinary day. It is a sacred opportunity to declare blessings over your life, your family, and your future with bold and unwavering faith. Where are you watching from today? And what are you believing for in this season of your life? As you begin this prayer, expect clarity where there was confusion, strength where there was weakness, and divine direction in every step you take. Do you feel that shift already stirring in your spirit? Open your heart, speak life over your circumstances, and release gratitude, knowing that heaven is responding to your faith right now. Are you willing to let go of doubt and step fully into trust today? If you truly believe this prayer can bless your day and transform your journey, will you like, comment, and share this message with someone who needs a fresh start this morning? Beloved of the Lord, as you step into this moment, you are stepping into divine alignment for your morning breakthrough. This is not just another start of the day, but a sacred positioning where heaven begins to order your steps, your thoughts, and your outcomes according to a higher plan. Have you ever noticed how one aligned morning can shift the entire direction of your week? What if today is that very turning point for you? Divine alignment is when your inner life and outer life come into agreement with God's intention for you, where confusion begins to clear and clarity begins to rise like light over darkness. It is the moment your spirit stops resisting and starts receiving. Are you willing to allow your thoughts to be reordered today so your path can be redirected? Many people wake up and immediately step into chaos through worry, distraction, and fear, but alignment calls you into stillness, awareness, and surrender. What if the peace you are looking for is already present, but waiting for your agreement? When you align your morning with prayer, you are not begging for direction, you are positioning yourself to recognize it. Tell me, have you ever experienced a moment when everything suddenly made sense after confusion lifted? That is the power of alignment working quietly, but powerfully within your life. At this level of divine alignment, your morning prayer becomes a declaration rather than a request. You are not speaking from weakness, but from authority, aligning your words with heaven's blueprint for your day. What are you speaking over your life when you wake up each morning? Are your words building your future or breaking your focus? When you begin to declare peace, clarity, favor, and strength, you are setting a spiritual atmosphere that influences everything you encounter. Have you ever realized how your first thoughts in the morning can shape your entire emotional direction? That is why alignment begins in the mind before it ever shows up in your circumstances. When your mind is anchored, your steps become ordered and your decisions become precise. This is where breakthrough begins to form quietly, even before results are visible. Even when challenges try to disrupt your morning peace, divine alignment keeps you centered and steady. Life may present unexpected situations, but alignment ensures that you are not easily shaken by what you see or hear. Are you allowing external noise to dictate your internal peace, or are you anchored in something greater? When your spirit is aligned, delays do not discourage you. Obstacles do not define you, and uncertainty does not control you. Instead, you begin to move with quiet confidence, knowing that every step is being guided. Have you ever noticed how calm people make clearer decisions even in chaos? That is the strength of alignment, working beneath the surface of your awareness. It is not about avoiding problems, but about rising above them with spiritual stability. Daily alignment is a practice, not a moment, where each morning you intentionally choose to focus your mind, your words, and your expectations on what is higher and eternal. Are you building consistency in your spiritual focus or only seeking motivation when life feels difficult? When you begin your day with intentional prayer, you train your spirit to recognize peace faster than panic and purpose faster than pressure. Have you ever thought about how your morning habits are shaping your long-term destiny? Every aligned morning is a seed planted into your future. When you speak alignment, you are not just hoping for a good day, you are shaping it through faith-filled awareness. What would change in your life if every morning started with expectation instead of hesitation? Living in alignment transforms not only your mornings, but the entire rhythm of your life, where even small decisions begin to carry deeper meaning and direction. Are you noticing how your daily choices reflect your spiritual focus? When alignment becomes your foundation, confusion loses its power to dominate your thoughts, and clarity becomes your default state. Have you ever experienced a day where everything felt guided, almost as if unseen hands were directing your steps? That is what consistent alignment produces. It does not remove challenges, but it changes how you respond to them. When your inner world is ordered, your outer world begins to respond differently, opening doors you did not have to force or fight for. Are you ready to stay in that flow of divine order as each moment unfolds and continues shaping your path forward? And even in moments when uncertainty tries to rise, alignment keeps you steady enough to continue choosing faith over fear, step by step, breath by breath, as your awareness deepens into something greater unfolding. And what are you sensing right now as you stay in this awareness, beloved of the Lord? As you continue in this sacred moment, you are being invited into speaking life over your day with faith and authority. This is not casual speaking, this is spiritual activation, where every word you release carries weight, direction, and creative power. Have you ever stopped to consider how your morning words shape the emotions, decisions, and outcomes of your entire day? What are you declaring over yourself before the world even gets a chance to speak to you? Speaking life begins with awareness. The realization that your tongue is not just a tool for communication, but a vessel for creation. When you wake up, your first words are either building strength or reinforcing struggle. Are you speaking hope into your future or repeating yesterday's worries? Many people unknowingly rehearse fear, stress, and limitation in the early hours of the day, and then wonder why their day feels heavy or blocked. But what if you decided today that your voice will no longer agree with fear, but will only align with faith and possibility? Tell me, have you ever experienced a moment where one positive declaration completely shifted your mindset? When you speak life with faith and authority, you are not denying reality. You are transforming it through spiritual alignment. Faith-filled words do not ignore challenges. They redefine your response to them. Are you ready to stop speaking based on what you see and start speaking based on what you believe? Authority comes when you understand that your words are not passive. They are active forces shaping your emotional and spiritual atmosphere. The moment you say, "I will overcome," something within you begins to rise. The moment you say, "I am guided," confusion begins to lose its grip. Have you noticed how your internal world responds when you change your language intentionally? Speaking life is also about breaking agreement with negativity. Every time you repeat doubt, fear, or defeat, you are reinforcing a cycle that keeps your spirit heavy and your vision limited. But when you begin to declare peace, strength, wisdom, and favor, you are interrupting that cycle. What would change in your life if you stopped agreeing with every negative thought that entered your mind? Not every thought deserves your agreement, and not every emotion deserves your confession. When you speak life, you become selective about what you empower with your voice. Are you willing to become more intentional with your words starting today? There is also authority in consistency, because one declaration is powerful, but a lifestyle of declarations becomes transformative. When you consistently speak life every morning, you begin to reprogram your mindset and your expectations. You no longer wake up wondering what will go wrong, but instead expecting what can go right. Have you ever noticed how repetition shapes belief? The more you speak faith, the more your inner world begins to trust what you are saying. This is how transformation begins quietly, not through sudden change, but through consistent alignment of words and belief. What are you reinforcing daily through your speech patterns? Speaking life also shifts your emotional state, and words carry frequency, and what you speak influences how you feel. When you declare peace, you begin to feel calmer. When you declare strength, you begin to feel more grounded. When you declare direction, confusion begins to fade. Are you aware that your voice can either regulate or destabilize your emotions, depending on what you choose to speak? This is why authority in speech is not about volume, but about intention. Even a quiet declaration filled with faith carries more power than loud words filled with doubt. Have you ever felt your spirit lift just by changing what you said out loud? As you step into speaking life, you are also stepping into responsibility over your atmosphere. Your home, your mind, your environment all respond to what is consistently released through your words. When you speak blessing, you create an environment where peace can grow. When you speak favor, you create awareness of opportunities. When you speak strength, you create resilience within your spirit. What kind of atmosphere are you building around your life each day through your voice? Many do not realize that their environment is often a reflection of their internal confession. Are you ready to shift that reality by changing what flows from your mouth each morning? Authority in speaking life also comes from belief, because words without belief lose their power, but words rooted in conviction become unshakable. When you truly believe that your day can be guided, protected, and filled with favor, your speech reflects that certainty. Do you believe your words have impact beyond what you can see? When belief and speech align, something powerful happens within your spirit. A quiet confidence begins to form, not based on circumstances, but on inner assurance. Have you ever felt that sense of certainty rise within you after declaring something with full conviction? As this awareness deepens, you begin to understand that speaking life is not just a habit, but a spiritual discipline that reshapes your perception, your reactions, and your expectations. And even when situations try to pull you back into old patterns of speech, there is a growing awareness within you that your voice is meant to build rather than break, to uplift rather than diminish, to guide rather than wander aimlessly in doubt. And as you remain in this flow of conscious declaration, you begin to notice subtle shifts in how you respond to challenges, how you interpret opportunities, and how you carry yourself through each unfolding moment where your words continue shaping what you see, feel, and experience throughout your day. Beloved of the Lord, as you remain in this sacred flow, you are being drawn into the powerful act of releasing every burden through morning prayer. This is the divine exchange where heaviness is surrendered and peace is received, where anxiety is laid down and strength is lifted up within your spirit. Have you ever noticed how you carry things into your day that were never meant to stay with you? What if today you decide that nothing unspoken, unresolved, or unhealed will be allowed to weigh your morning down? Releasing every burden begins with awareness, the realization that not everything you feel is meant to be carried. Many people wake up already mentally exhausted, replaying yesterday's worries, tomorrow's uncertainties, and silent fears that quietly build pressure within the heart. Are you aware of what you are unconsciously carrying into this very moment? Morning prayer becomes the sacred space where you pause long enough to acknowledge what your spirit has been holding. When you bring those burdens into prayer, you are not ignoring them. You are placing them into a higher hand that knows how to handle what overwhelms you. Tell me, Have you ever felt a sudden relief after simply expressing what you were carrying in prayer? There is a spiritual release that happens when you stop internalizing everything and start surrendering it. Burdens grow heavier when they are hidden, but they begin to lose power when they are spoken and released. Are you willing today to stop carrying silent pressure that your soul was never designed to hold? Morning prayer is not just communication, it is release. It is the moment you declare, I will not carry this alone. When you say that, something shifts internally. A quiet letting go begins to take place in your spirit. Have you experienced how your body feels lighter when your mind stops racing in fear? Releasing burdens through prayer is also about trust, because what you release must be entrusted to something greater than your own understanding. Many people struggle not because they lack strength, but because they refuse to release control. Are you holding on to things that require surrender instead of control? When you pray in the morning, you are acknowledging that you are not the source of all solutions, but you are connected to the source of all wisdom. That realization alone begins to soften anxiety and reduce internal pressure. What would happen if you truly believed that you are not meant to fix everything, but to walk through it with divine guidance? Every burden carries emotional weight, and if not released, it begins to affect how you think, how you speak, and how you respond to life. Have you noticed how unspoken stress can change your mood, your patience, and even your clarity? Morning prayer interrupts that cycle by giving your emotions a place to be processed rather than suppressed. When you speak honestly in prayer, you are not being weak, you are being real. And in that honesty, healing begins to flow. Are you willing to be honest with yourself about what is weighing on you today? There is also a deeper layer of release that happens when you begin to forgive, let go, and surrender emotional resistance. Many burdens are not just about circumstances, but about people, memories, and unresolved emotions. What are you still holding onto that continues to take peace from your present moment? When you bring these things into prayer, you are not excusing them, but freeing yourself from their control. Have you ever realized that forgiveness is not just for others, but for your own emotional freedom? Morning prayer becomes a spiritual cleansing, where inner clutter begins to clear and space is created for peace to enter. When burdens are released, clarity follows naturally. Confusion begins to dissolve, and your inner voice becomes easier to hear. Are you noticing how your mind feels when it is not overloaded with emotional weight? In that space of release, you begin to think more clearly, respond more calmly, and move more intentionally. This is the quiet power of surrender, where you stop reacting from pressure and start responding from peace. Releasing burdens also means refusing to carry expectations that are not yours to control. Many people are burdened not only by problems, but by expectations of outcomes, timelines, and uncertainties. Are you trying to control what was never meant to be controlled by your hands alone? Morning prayer helps you realign your expectations with peace, allowing life to unfold without constant resistance. What would it feel like to start your day without mentally fighting battles that have not even arrived? As this release deepens, your spirit begins to experience a lightness that cannot be explained by external circumstances. It is not that problems disappear, but that their weight no longer dominates your inner world. Have you ever felt peace even while things were still unresolved? That is the result of burden released through prayer. It is a state where your soul stops carrying what your faith has already surrendered. And in that surrender, something within you begins to stabilize, where your thoughts slow down, your breathing deepens, and your awareness shifts from pressure to presence, from overwhelm to quiet trust. And even as you continue in this flow, there is a growing sense that what you have released no longer defines your direction, because your morning is no longer controlled by what you carry. but by what you have chosen to let go into a higher care that continues working beyond your immediate understanding, beloved of the Lord. As you continue in this sacred flow of morning prayer, you are now stepping into the powerful act of declaring protection, peace, and favor over your journey. This is not just a gentle hope. This is a spiritual covering that you activate with your words, a divine shield that surrounds every step you take throughout your day. Have you ever considered that your morning declaration can set the tone for everything you will encounter? When you declare protection over your life, you are not speaking from fear, you are speaking from authority. You are establishing a boundary in the spirit that says harm will not define your path, and confusion will not interrupt your direction. Are you aware that many people move through their day unprotected in their thoughts because they never intentionally speak covering over themselves? The moment you begin to declare, "I am protected," something shifts in your awareness. A sense of stability begins to rise within you. Tell me, have you ever felt more secure after intentionally praying over your day before stepping out? Protection in morning prayer is not only about physical safety, but also about mental clarity, emotional stability, and spiritual grounding. It is about covering your thoughts from anxiety, your heart from fear, and your decisions from confusion. What would change in your life if you believed that your mind could remain protected even in chaotic environments? When you declare protection, you are aligning yourself with peace that does not depend on external circumstances. This is where your journey begins to feel anchored, even when situations around you are uncertain. Have you noticed how your inner state can remain calm, even when external conditions are unstable? As you move deeper into this declaration, peace begins to take center stage in your spirit. Peace is not the absence of challenges, it is the presence of stability within them. When you speak peace over your journey, you are not denying difficulties, you are refusing to let them dominate your inner world. Are you allowing external noise to dictate your internal peace, or are you choosing to speak calm into your atmosphere? Many people underestimate the power of simply saying, "Peace surrounds me," yet those words begin to recalibrate the emotional rhythm of your day. What would your morning feel like if peace was not something you searched for, but something you released into your environment? Peace also changes the way you respond to people, situations, and unexpected interruptions. When peace is active in your spirit, you are less reactive and more discerning. You begin to pause instead of panic, to observe instead of assume, to respond instead of react. Have you ever noticed how peace can completely change the outcome of a conversation or decision? When your journey is covered in peace, even disruptions begin to lose their ability to destabilize you. Are you willing to let peace become your default response instead of stress or frustration? Now, as you continue in this declaration, favor begins to open pathways that were previously closed. Favor is divine positioning, where opportunities, connections, and timing begin to align in ways you could not orchestrate on your own. When you declare favor over your journey, you are stepping into alignment with opportunities that are already prepared for your growth. Have you ever experienced something opening for you that you did not expect, yet it felt perfectly timed? That is the flow of favor working beyond human calculation. Favor also changes perception, both how you see yourself and how others respond to you. When you walk in favor, you are not striving for validation, you are walking in recognition of divine positioning. Are you aware that favor can open doors that effort alone cannot? This is why your declaration matters, because your words begin to shape your expectation, and your expectation begins to shape your experience. What would your life look like if you truly believed that favor was surrounding every step you take today? As protection, peace, and favor begin to work together, your journey starts to feel less like struggle and more like alignment. Even when challenges arise, they no longer carry the same weight, because your inner declaration has already set a different expectation. Have you noticed how expectation can change your emotional response to difficulties? When you expect protection, you move with confidence. When you expect peace, you respond with stability. When you expect favor, you begin to recognize opportunities that others overlook. There is also a deep awareness that begins to form when you consistently declare these truths, where your spirit stops negotiating with fear and starts affirming trust. What are you reinforcing every morning before you step into your day? Because what you consistently speak becomes the environment you unconsciously live within. When protection, peace, and favor become part of your morning language, they begin to shape your reactions, your decisions, and your awareness throughout the day. Have you ever realized that your internal dialogue can either elevate or limit your experience? Even in moments when uncertainty tries to rise, these declarations act as anchors, holding your spirit steady while everything else shifts around you. You begin to notice that your journey is not random, but guided, not chaotic, but ordered in ways that unfold gradually through awareness, where protection keeps you grounded, peace keeps you centered, and favor keeps you open to what is unfolding beyond immediate understanding. And as you remain in this awareness, there is a growing sense that your steps are being directed with intentional care, even when you cannot yet see the full picture unfolding ahead, beloved of the Lord. As you continue in this sacred morning prayer flow, you are now stepping into the deep invitation of clarity, wisdom, and divine direction over your life. This is the moment where confusion begins to dissolve and understanding begins to rise like light breaking through darkness. Have you ever noticed how one clear thought in the morning can change the entire outcome of your day? What if today your spirit becomes so aligned that every decision feels guided rather than forced? This is not about intellectual knowledge alone, but spiritual alignment where your inner awareness begins to synchronize with higher guidance. Many people move through their mornings reacting instead of receiving, thinking instead of discerning, rushing instead of listening. Are you aware of how often your decisions are made from pressure rather than peace? When clarity enters your spirit, confusion loses its authority over your direction. Tell me, have you ever experienced a moment where suddenly everything became obvious without struggle? Clarity in morning prayer is like light entering a room that has been dark for too long. It does not force itself, it simply reveals what was already present but unseen. When you begin your day in prayer, you are not asking for confusion to leave, you are asking for sight to increase. Are you willing to see your situation differently today rather than through fear or assumption? Because clarity changes interpretation, and interpretation changes emotion. This is why divine direction becomes so essential, because clarity shows you options, but direction shows you the right path to take. Without direction, clarity can still leave you overwhelmed with choices. Have you ever known what to do, but still felt unsure of where to begin? Divine direction is the quiet internal guidance that aligns your steps with timing, opportunity, and purpose. It is not loud, but it is certain. When divine direction is active in your life, even small decisions begin to carry meaning, and what once felt random starts to feel orchestrated. You begin to notice patterns, signs, and subtle nudges that guide you forward. Are you paying attention to the quiet signals that are already speaking to your spirit? Many people miss direction, not because it is absent, but because they are too distracted to notice it. What if guidance is already present, but waiting for your awareness? We often expect divine direction to be dramatic, loud, or externally confirmed, but most of the time it comes as inner knowing, gentle conviction, or sudden peace about a decision. Are you able to trust what you feel in stillness more than what you hear in noise? The more you slow down internally, the clearer your guidance becomes. Have you ever noticed how peace often confirms the right path more than pressure ever could? In this place of divine direction, Wisdom begins to function as an inner compass that not only shows you what is right, but also helps you understand timing, posture, and approach in every situation. Many times people make correct decisions at the wrong time or move in the right direction with the wrong mindset, and then wonder why things feel blocked or delayed. Are you learning to recognize that wisdom is not just information, but application guided by spiritual sensitivity? When you walk in wisdom, you begin to pause before reacting, reflect before deciding, and listen before speaking. Have you ever noticed how one moment of restraint can save you from unnecessary conflict or confusion? Wisdom also teaches you to value silence, because in silence your spirit becomes more receptive to subtle guidance that noise often hides. Are you creating space in your day to actually hear what your inner awareness is trying to show you? As you remain open to this unfolding awareness, clarity, wisdom, and divine direction begin to merge into a single flow of inner guidance that gently shapes your responses, your thoughts, and your perception of each situation. And you start to notice that even ordinary moments carry subtle instructions that guide your next step. And your sensitivity continues to grow as you recognize that nothing is random in your awareness, and each thought begins to slow down into deeper understanding. And as you continue to walk in this flow, you begin to feel that your entire inner world is being restructured into beloved of the Lord. As you continue in this sacred moment of morning prayer, you are now entering the powerful reality of breaking limitations and stepping into new possibilities. This is the divine invitation where old boundaries begin to dissolve and new horizons begin to open before your eyes. Have you ever felt like something invisible was holding you back, even when you were trying your best to move forward? What if today you recognize that many of those limits were never placed by your destiny, but by your perception? Breaking limitations begins in the mind, because what you consistently believe becomes the ceiling of your experience. Many people are not physically stuck. They are mentally conditioned to accept less, expect less, and attempt less. Are you aware of the silent agreements you may have made with limitation without even realizing it? The thoughts you repeat, the fears you entertain, and the doubts you accept all begin to form invisible walls around your potential. Tell me, have you ever surprised yourself by doing something you once believed was impossible? That moment was not luck, it was the breaking of an internal boundary. When you step into morning prayer with awareness, you begin to challenge those inner boundaries with truth and faith. You are no longer agreeing with what fear has declared over your life. Instead, you are realigning with what possibility is trying to reveal to you. Are you willing to question the limits you have accepted for too long? Because limitation loses power the moment it is questioned with spiritual awareness. What would happen if you stopped asking, "Can I?" and started asking, "What if I already can?" Stepping into new possibilities requires courage, because possibility always stretches you beyond familiarity, and the human mind often confuses familiarity with safety. But just because something feels familiar does not mean it is aligned with your growth. Have you noticed how growth often feels uncomfortable before it feels rewarding? When you step into new possibilities, you are stepping into spaces where your current version of thinking is no longer sufficient. Are you ready to allow your mindset to expand beyond what you have previously accepted as your limit? There is a spiritual awakening that happens when you begin to realize that your life is not meant to remain in repetition, but in expansion. Every new possibility begins as a thought, a vision, or a quiet inner impression that challenges your current reality. But many people dismiss those impressions because they feel too big or too unfamiliar. Have you ever ignored an idea because it felt too advanced for your current situation? Yet often, those very impressions are invitations to your next level of growth. Breaking limitations also means releasing inherited mental patterns. Those beliefs you absorbed from environment, experience, or past disappointment. Not every limitation you carry is yours by origin. Some were learned, some were repeated, and some were never challenged. Are you willing to examine which thoughts are truly yours and which ones were simply adopted over time? When you begin to question these patterns, you begin to reclaim your mental space. And in that reclaimed space, new possibilities begin to take root. New possibilities always require vision, because without vision, you cannot perceive beyond where you are. But vision is not just seeing what is, it is sensing what can be. Have you ever felt something within you pulling you towards something greater, even when you could not fully explain it? That inner pull is often the beginning of expansion. When you honor that pull, you begin to move beyond limitation into exploration. What possibilities have you been sensing but hesitating to acknowledge? As you step into this awareness, courage becomes essential, because courage is what moves you when comfort tries to hold you back. Many opportunities are not missed because they are unavailable, but because hesitation interrupts movement. Are you noticing how hesitation has shaped some of your past decisions? When you begin to act in alignment with possibility, even small steps begin to shift your trajectory. One decision can open a pathway that was previously hidden from your awareness. Breaking limitation also involves changing your internal language, because the way you speak to yourself reinforces or dismantles boundaries. When you say, "I cannot," you reinforce closure. But when you say, "I am open to," you begin to expand your inner capacity. What are you reinforcing daily through your self-talk? Because your internal dialogue is constantly shaping your perception of what is possible. Have you realized that transformation often begins with simple shifts in language? New possibilities also require patience, because expansion is a process, not an instant event. Many people give up right before breakthrough because they expect immediate change. But growth often unfolds gradually, revealing itself in stages. Are you patient enough to allow what is unfolding to fully develop in your life? Sometimes what feels like delay is actually preparation for expansion. Have you considered that what you are waiting for is also being prepared for you? As you remain in this awareness, your spirit begins to stretch beyond old definitions of identity, capability, and expectation. And you start to notice that what once felt impossible begins to feel accessible. What once felt distant begins to feel closer. And what once felt restricted begins to loosen its grip. And even as you move through this inner expansion, there is a growing sense that your perception is widening, and your awareness is deepening, and your understanding of yourself is shifting into something greater than what you previously allowed yourself to imagine. And as this unfolding continues, you begin to sense that limitation is no longer your reference point, but possibility itself becomes the new language shaping your inner direction and awareness as it continues to expand beyond familiar boundaries and into, beloved of the Lord. As you continue in this sacred flow of morning prayer, you are now being drawn into the powerful state of walking in gratitude and spiritual confidence. This is not a temporary feeling, but a way of life where your awareness begins to shift from what is missing to what is already working in your favor. Have you ever noticed how your entire inner atmosphere changes when you choose gratitude before anything else in the day? Walking in gratitude means you are no longer waiting for everything to be perfect before you acknowledge goodness in your life. It is the decision to recognize divine presence, even in ordinary moments, even in simple breath, even in quiet beginnings. Are you aware that gratitude has the power to reshape how you interpret your circumstances? Many people delay joy until conditions improve, but gratitude teaches you to experience peace even while things are still unfolding. Tell me, when was the last time you paused and truly appreciated where you are right now, even if everything is not yet where you want it to be? When gratitude becomes your walk, your mindset begins to shift from scarcity to awareness, from complaint to recognition, from pressure to appreciation. What are you focusing on more in your daily life? what is wrong or what is still right, because whatever you magnify in your attention begins to grow in your emotional experience. Have you ever noticed how one grateful thought can interrupt a spiral of negativity? That is not coincidence. That is spiritual realignment happening within your awareness. Gratitude is not denial of challenges. It is the refusal to let challenges define your entire perception. You can acknowledge difficulty without surrendering your peace to it. Are you allowing your current situation to overshadow the blessings that are still present in your life? When you begin to walk in gratitude consistently, even small things begin to feel meaningful again, like moments of clarity, moments of peace, moments of unexpected support that often go unnoticed when your focus is elsewhere. Now, as gratitude begins to take root, spiritual confidence starts to rise within you. This is the quiet assurance that you are not walking blindly, that your life is not without direction, and that you are being guided even when you cannot fully see the outcome. Have you ever felt an inner certainty, even when external evidence was not yet visible? That is spiritual confidence forming within your spirit. Spiritual confidence is different from human confidence, because human confidence depends on performance, results, and validation, while spiritual confidence is rooted in trust, alignment, and inner knowing. Are you still basing your confidence on what you have achieved, or are you beginning to build it on what you believe is unfolding for you? When spiritual confidence grows, you stop second-guessing every step, and you start moving with quiet assurance even in unfamiliar territory. Walking in this confidence does not mean you never feel uncertainty. It means uncertainty no longer controls your direction. You may still encounter questions, but you no longer allow those questions to paralyze your movement. Have you noticed how hesitation often comes from overthinking rather than lack of ability? Spiritual confidence helps you move even when everything is not fully clear, because your trust is stronger than your fear. Gratitude and confidence together create a powerful inner alignment. Gratitude keeps you grounded in appreciation, while confidence keeps you moving forward with assurance. When both are active in your spirit, your posture in life begins to change. You walk differently, you think differently, you respond differently. Are you aware of how your inner state reflects in your outer expression? Many people struggle with confidence because they are disconnected from gratitude. When you forget what you already have, you begin to doubt what you can still become. But when gratitude is active, confidence becomes natural because you recognize that your life already carries evidence of support, provision, and progress. What if everything you have experienced so far is proof that you are being carried, guided, and sustained even through uncertainty? Walking in gratitude also softens the heart. It removes heaviness, resentment, and constant comparison. Have you ever noticed how comparison drains your peace faster than anything else? Gratitude brings you back to your own path, your own timing, your own unfolding journey. And in that return, you begin to feel more settled within yourself. Spiritual confidence then strengthens your decisions. You stop seeking constant external validation before taking steps forward. You begin to trust your discernment more deeply. Are you still waiting for everyone to agree before you move? Or are you beginning to trust what you already know within yourself? Confidence does not mean isolation. It means alignment with inner conviction. As this state deepens, even your challenges begin to look different. Not because they disappear, but because you no longer interpret them as signs of failure. Instead, you begin to see them as part of shaping, refining, and redirecting your path. Have you ever realized that what once felt like a setback later revealed a deeper purpose? And as gratitude continues to anchor your awareness, while spiritual confidence continues to strengthen your steps, there is a quiet unfolding happening within you where fear loses its authority, hesitation begins to fade, and your inner world starts to stabilize in a way that allows you to move through your day with a sense of quiet assurance, gentle awareness, and growing inner strength that continues expanding beyond what you previously believed possible as you remain in this flow of a me-ing.